Hi, Krish. Nice meeting you. Thank you for inviting me for this webinar. Yeah, as far as my background is concerned, I've been working in hydrogen industry for since 2007, starting with research and development, product development, product engineering, and currently, recent past, we have launched one startup, which through which we offer solutions based on green hydrogen to replace fossil fuels. So in any industrial processes, you need some kind of fossil fuel. So with hydrogen, it can be replaced. So the initiative of decarbonization, the goals of decarbonization can be met. And we have a focus on that, where we develop applications, we develop all the systems so that the industry can implement this solution without any hassle.
That's good to hear, Mr. Nitin. And it's actually really important because, like, we can see that the hydrogen economy is actually growing a lot. So, sir, the first question to you, that you have been driving the real world hydrogen solutions into the market. And from your perspective, which countries are emerging as the true leaders in the hydrogen race? And what's giving them the edge, sir?
See, we are talking about hydrogen economy, right? So the first and most important thing is we are talking about renewable energy. We are trying to go away from fossil fuels and use develop economy which is based on renewable energy. And hydrogen, being a carrier of energy, can make a lot big difference. So any country which has a good uh, supply chain or availability of renewable energy sources. For example, solar, wind, hydrogen, or hydropower, or geothermal, or any other form of renewable energy. It has a good chance to succeed in this effort to uh, get into hydrogen economy. So, which countries are poised to do it? Which countries are likely to lead the hydrogen economy revolution? So that answer comes from that. For example, Australia has a very vast solar and wind resource. India has a very vast solar as well as a long coastline. Similarly, is the Middle East. Europe has very good wind resources. So first factor that affects or makes the country candidate for leading hydrogen economy is abundance and cost effectiveness of renewable energy resources. Okay, having said that, we have many countries where you have like in African countries, the sun is giving its best energy only, but still it is not developed because there is no government commitment or policy support. It is lagging behind. It has a highest potential. So second is strong government commitment and policy support. Government has to put in policies to support this development of hydrogen economy, including the renewable energy development. If you have a hydrogen development, hydrogen project coming, hydrogen Africa, but if you don't develop support the solar and wind renewable energy sources, then it will be of no use. You cannot go far. Third is what is the existing energy infrastructure and expertise? Currently, we are using fossil fuels, but in what form? what form it can be replaced.
It
There
can,
are countries,
that's true. Sorry. Yes, so please go ahead. Yeah.
yeah, there are countries which are using natural gas and they have a very complex network of pipelines.
Mm-hmm.
They have a storage facility. They have a skilled workforce because we have been using this conventional form of energy for decades now.
Hmm. That's
Then,
actually true. So that's actually true. We have been using fossil fuel and it has been going on for decades now. And currently, as you mentioned about all those policies and existing expertise that we're going through, and it's really important for us to know on how these countries will be adopting the hydrogen economy. So yes, sir, please go ahead.
so there are some other factors also technological capability, innovation ecosystem. If you have technological capabilities like US and Europe has, and if you have a innovation ecosystem like India has, the way India has developed, then definitely you can be a candidate to lead the hydrogen economy. Then there are other factors, industrial demand and potential.
Hmm.
Then what is the strategic location? What is export potential apart
Hmm.
from local consumption?
Hmm.
If you can export hydrogen, so what is that potential?
Hmm.
So and what is the investment and funding capacity? Basically, the businesses need a lot of funding. All
Hmm.
these projects are very high capex, so you need some kind of funding mechanism
Hmm.
to bring about these projects. So considering this, I think China, China has a very good manufacturing expertise.
Hmm.
Technological infrastructure is there. Innovation, they are doing a lot of things.
Hmm.
China is one country. Europe as a whole union, they
Hmm.
have a lot of research going on. India, Australia with its abundance of natural resources, solar and wind. So these are the countries which can lead the hydrogen economy
Okay.
in future.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nitin. So it was actually really good to hear. We have Mr. Mohammed on board with us. Hi, Mr. Mohammed. So, hello.
Hi, how are you? Thank you.
Yes, sir. So, sir, we were just discussing with Mr. Nitin, sir, and about which countries are going to become the true leaders in the hydrogen race. And so he was just mentioning about the countries which are currently present, and like China into the manufacturing part, EU, which is currently doing R&D, India, and we've even got Australia as well. So, sir, thank you so much, Nitin, sir, for
You
those
are
comments.
welcome,
You
Karis.
have anything else to add, sir, Mr. Nitin, sir?
Yes, actually, like I was working a project that we are approaching a new strategy and a new incentive way in Turkey. And while studying the new incentive way, that we found that as our guest said, India and China, they are leading the hydrogen sector. But beyond that, we have EU. They are putting a new regulation and perfect regulation to suitable the hydrogen, to suitable the future. And they put a lot of projects such as the backbone, the EU backbone, which has a 3,300 kilometer, starting from Algeria and crossing Spain, Italy, Germany, and Austria and other countries, not less than 7 countries. This project, we are talking not less than 3 billion euro. And we have also America, United States also worked on this project. They, I don't know if you'll heard about the hydrogen shot, which is $1 per 1 kilogram in 1 decade. They are aiming to reduce the cost of the hydrogen to $1 per kilogram, while these days it's almost between 8 and $6 per kilogram. Also, they are working to establish a 7 regional hub in United States. So they are allocate more than 7 billion. And in my opinion, like the only country that put a clear incentive and a clear strategic for hydrogen employment is United States, because in IRA they put a Inflation Reduction Act. There is a special section for renewables, and recently they added a section V48 or 48V for hydrogen, for green hydrogen especially. So they clarify everything from production amount, how the incentive gonna be, how the site space gonna be. They clarified everything, and they was sure how the companies gonna follow that incentive and how they can reach. When we talk about hydrogen, hydrogen is totally new energy sector. So we look like we should make zoom out and look from outside, like from look outside. Some countries they are focusing on production, and some countries they are focusing on transportation, and the other company they are focusing on consumers. Like China, they are focusing in installing manufacture for end use, like indirectly for the end use and the production, while Europe for transportation and storage. I think that's not enough to meet the global vision or the global scenarios, i.e., scenario or arena climate 1.5 reduction act. So the global should put a clear framework, uh, including all parts of hydrogen, starting from production, transportation and storage, and consumption, not only one part of them. That's my view to that topic.
That's really good to hear. So, I mean, hydrogen is actually a new thing. It's actually been going on for decades. We have had hydrogen for decades now, but like using green hydrogen, that is a completely we're rediscovering the process of electrolysis. And
Actually,
yeah.
Kirish, like if you look to the today's scale of hydrogen production, like till 2021, almost 97 million ton per annum was produced hydrogen. But that hydrogen was not green. Like we are talking 97, 98% of that amount was gray hydrogen, while
Mhm,
the rest was blue. So,
mhm,
according to like the global scenarios and targets and visions, that number should be totally different, like 96 green and blue or low carbon hydrogen, and the rest blue. That should be happen within 5 years, and that's impossible. With these strategies, that's impossible. Like one of the countries that reached some of this percentage, it was the United Arab Emirates. They put a target to produce with by 2030 10 million metric ton per annum. And recently, like by in the end of 24, they announced that they reached 5 million ton. And also we have a brilliant project in Saudi Arabia, NEOM. Also, they put a target to produce 6 million ton per annum, but still the project under operation, and maybe it's gonna be postponed for not 2030, maybe gonna be postponed for 2030, 2034. A lot of
mhm.
project, we are hearing about a lot of project. According to that project or according to announced project, the data and the studies they are saying that we can reach 96% of 200 million metric ton per annum. 97 of 200, like we are talking about almost 180 million ton. It should be low carbon. But on the other hand, we have a lot of project cancellation, a lot of postponed projects. As we heard last week in Italy, they postponed 1 million metric ton projects, and all same in Netherlands. So let's see what's gonna happen. I think everything gonna be clear within this year.
That's actually really true, Mr. Mohammed. So, like, we all know that the major, as you mentioned about low carbon, so the process of having low carbon hydrogen are electrolyzers, and they are the key step of creating production of green hydrogen. So, sir, my next question is going to be to Mr. Nitin. So, sir, you have been working on cost-efficient electrolyzers and industrial hydrogen applications. Where do you see the biggest bottlenecks today, and how can innovation or localization help reduce these costs meaningfully, sir?
A very valid question. I think all is facing this question, and still we don't have any one answer. We'll have to work on it. Biggest uh, bottleneck is electrolyzer cost. The capex is still very high. So unless we develop new technologies to reduce the cost, develop research new materials which are cost effective, locally available, uh, this makes the supply chain simple for the manufacturers. Then until then, it is not going to come down. Currently, we are using most of this, particularly in Asian countries. We are seeing that alkaline electrolyzers are dominating the market. They are being installed in a large way. But again, then there is concern about the efficiency. When you are using it, we are trying to couple it with the grid. It is makes it difficult because there is a startup time of at least half an hour to time. So those practical aspects should be taken care of, and better technology, cheaper electrolyzer materials, components should be developed. Uh, Unless it is done, it will be quite difficult. Another is the main component of hydrogen production cost, OPEX. There are only two components. One is water, another is electricity. So unless your electricity cost, renewable energy cost comes down, you will not be able to produce hydrogen cheaper. Okay, recent past we have seen the solar energy costs are going down. In India, around 1.99 rupees per kilowatt hour was quoted. So it is around, it is one of the best so far. But we expect it to go little lesser than that, around 1.5 rupees per unit per kilowatt. So you have to drive the electricity cost down because that is the most important cost contributor to the cost of hydrogen. Other
Understood.
other issues are storage and transportation. But yes, we are working on instead of transporting hydrogen or storing hydrogen in gaseous form, we are now talking about derivatives, which industry is using for quite some time, and it is very developed technology. So, in my view, the biggest cost bottleneck next in hydrogen development is electrolyzer cost and renewable energy cost.
Adding on to that, so as we know that the electrolyzer cost is a lot, so which are the main components which are making the electrolyzer the price shoot up, sir? If you could just elaborate a bit on that, sir.
The main cost is your membranes. For example, in alkaline electrolyzers or PEM, and AEM is still developing. But everywhere you see this cost of catalyst is very high. In
Hmm.
PM, particularly when you are relying on platinum group of metals,
Hmm.
rare, the supply chain is very limited.
Understood, sir.
So
Understood.
Yes.
Yes, so that's actually said because that's the most important thing that we have been looking out currently as well. That companies are coming out with the PEM electrolyzers and membranes, and the catalyst are making the price shoot up because of the platinum grade materials, I guess the PGM metals that we have. So and it's actually we have to come out with new solutions for that, sir. So moving on to Mr. Mohammed, sir, I have my next question for you. So, given your research in energy storage and renewables integration, how do you see hydrogen storage, fuel cells, and microgrids working together to enable scalable and flexible energy systems?
Actually, it's a nice question. Like in my background, hydrogen. 1 minute. Before that, I was just gonna mention something regarding what my friend said about hydrogen production and low carbon hydrogen reduction. Actually, we are facing a problem that hydrogen categorization. There's some country they are categorization hydrogen as a energy source base or as a in a color base or temperature based. So that should be clear. Like we are always talking about green hydrogen, but if we looked for the Middle East country, like which they have oil and gas, why we should implement green hydrogen? Why we can just apply and CCUS carbon capture, utilize and storage to the steam reforming power plant? So we can reach our goal without going really hard and rapidly to electrolyzer, even though for the last 3 years, a lot of manufacturers, a lot of companies, they put a huge investments in that sector. And regarding your questions, like really thank you for these questions about hydrogen and energy storage. As like someone working, as me, as someone working in the section of renewable integration and decision analysis, I believe the convergence of hydrogen storage, fuel cell, and microgrid offer really a powerful pathways to build resilient, scalable, and decarbonized energy sector. Practically, what we are approaching for 2030, multi-criteria decision making really play a pivotal role in the ecosystem. It allows to evaluate not just only the technical, we can also evaluate the feasibility of hydrogen technological, economic, and also environment impact, plus grid stability, and plus also local policy alignment. In essence, multi-criteria decision-making, holder, stakeholder, governments, investors, and utilize to prioritize solutions that balance costs and resilience and sustainability. If you look to the hydrogen, hydrogen offer a unique advantage in energy storage, like long durational, seasonal storage, which batteries currently cannot provide this economically. Access renewable energy electricity can be stored as a hydrogen and used weeks or even months later, making it ideal to support the grid resilience during demand shocks or supply shortage. We had an example recently for Germany and Japan. They are investing in underground hydro storage to secure energy supply during winter months because they don't have a high potential during the winter. If we look to the other side, fuel cell, especially solid oxide and BEM, the most advanced electrolyzer these days, convert stored hydrogen back into electricity with high efficiency and zero emission. They are modular, quiet, and scalable, making them well suited for the decentralized generations. Like hospitals, data centers, industrial facilities can use hydrogen fuel cell in microgrid to stay operational during blackouts or grid failure. In fact, like California and South Korea are already using hydrogen fuel cell in this way to improve energy reliability and critical infrastructure. And I need to add, hydrogen integrated microgrid allow to remote communities and industrial zones, campuses to operate semi-independently from the central grid. Imagine a system where solar panel generate electricity by day, access power produce hydrogen via electrolysis, and the fuel cell supply power at night or during outage. This model ensures 24 hours 7 clean energy, even in place without strong grid connection. It can handle that. It also reduce the resilience on diesel generation and islanded nations, refuge campus, or maybe it could be post disaster zones. The integration of hydrogen storage, fuel cell, microgrid guided by data-driven decision tools like MCDA and other tools, not just technically visible, it's strategically essential for building the next generation of resilient, scalable, and the most important, sustainable energy system across the globe.
That's actually really amazing. So, I mean, like, I can actually see a future wherein there is hydrogen everywhere. And it's because of this vision today that we all present over here are working towards the hydrogen economy. And it's actually really amazing to see, especially I am really interested in the electrolyzers and the fuel cell market, especially because I think that the product itself is really fascinating to power our grids. And so like I had one question, Mohammed. So like regarding ammonia, we have been hearing a lot about ammonia. What's your
Yeah.
take on that? So
Could
there are
you
a lot
repeat?
of
I didn't hear
yeah.
you. I didn't. Could you repeat?
Yeah, so like currently we've been hearing a lot about ammonia as well. Green ammonia, like that's the base storage technique, or that's the storage technique for hydrogen because hydrogen requires a lot of compression and it's
Yeah.
like a time bomb that it might even blast off. So that's why ammonia is the perfect solution for hydrogen. So what's your take on that?
Actually, for the ammonia,
Krish, I have
uh,
one. Can I add one question to this
Yeah.
related to this?
Yes, sir. Definitely, sir.
yes,
Yeah. Okay. We you talked about this CCUS, carbon capture. Okay. What is your take on the carbon capture? Uh, uh, okay. You say Middle East has a lot of oil, which cannot be mostly phased out overnight. So you need CCS and then use that oil to for better without carbon generation. So what will be the use of carbon collected, deposited, captured from that, and how sustainable it is? Because what we see, the carbon capture capex is very high. So how to relate to that?
actually, like if we compare the capex of integrated integration of carbon capture with the implement or install a new electrolyzers on new hydrogen production plant, we can find the carbon capture gonna be still less. The capex of integration or install carbon capture technology is still gonna be less. And like we are already walked 50% of our way, that we have already steam reforming. So we just need to apply one more technology, which is carbon capture. Even though the captured carbon should be like used in different sector like filterizations industries, and there's already, like for now there already exists market for carbon capture while there's no exist market for hydrogen. That's really weird that we have market for captured carbon like since 2015, but until now there we don't have any hydrogen market or recognized or managed or controlled hydrogen market. That's a bigger problem. But till this moment, both of these options they are not applied yet. Either carbon capture and hydrogen. Like let's say widely, there's some project under operation, but 90% of the project they are still in the feasibility study stage or under construction. So that my comment. Back to Krish, could you repeat your question?
Sorry. Um, Hello.
You were asking me before.
Oh yeah, I was actually asking you about ammonia. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Okay, ammonia, like as you mentioned, beginning on your question, that applying hydrogen these days it's really hard. while the technology is still not advanced enough yet. So they found the businessman, the technicals, they found a derivative or some exit to solve that problem that they can transport the ammonia, the hydrogen as ammonia, as one of derivative, because the global, they are already used to consume ammonia. They used to transport ammonia. They used to transport ammonia, and there is already exists infrastructure. So, like one of the biggest player in the ammonia sector, transporting ammonia and producing ammonia is Egypt. Egypt and Morocco. Egypt recently they have a like they have a they finished. I think the project now it's under operational operation in Egypt with almost 2 million metric ton. One project. And ammonia it could be used for shipping. There's a lot of manufacturer they are using ammonia. So ammonia markets already exist. The consumers already they have. So until the hydrogen consumption method or hydrogen consumption tool and transportation should be advanced enough yet to handle the target, to handle the amount that we are targeting to reach, we are gonna go back to hydrogen. Plus, it's like we are talking cost beneficial. Still, ammonia more cheaper than than transported hydrogen, and like the piping for hydrogen, we have three to four way to store and transport hydrogen, either liquid or compressed or gas, and some carrier like ammonia. Still we don't have any pipeline ready yet, and it's really to like to establish or to install a new network. It's really expensive. So what they are working now, they are working to rework and make the existing infrastructure ready to handle the hydrogen, because the hydrogen density is really high and they are can escape from the pipes. That's because that they are went and go toward the ammonia, temporary, not like temporary. But I think within 3 year they're gonna be go back to hydrogen, but they won't left behind the ammonia because the ammonia market is still essential and important for a lot of industries.
Thank you so much, Mohammed, for that. I mean, like, that was just like a personal question that I had because I've been reading a lot about this topic and it's an interesting phase. But before that, I have a question from one of the audience. So, the question is from Mr. James Clark. How can industries and governments collaborate to reduce cost and build the necessary infrastructure to make green hydrogen commercially viable? So,
Actually, it's a nice question. Uh, the answer is basic with have a clear framework. Like till today, the most of our projects or most of the visions, they are just the dominance by the governments. Still, the private sector they didn't enter totally and effectively to the hydrogen sector, because we are talking all the hydrogen project. We are talking with huge investment numbers, billions. So it's still the private sector they cannot enter, and the incentives it's not clear. Like we have incentive but it's not clear yet, and there is no customer. Like the most challenge for the hydrogen it's electricity, like price of electricity, transportation infrastructure, and potential of customer. So let's take an example for Turkey. I was in Turkey like for the last 8 years, and they start to talk about hydrogen since 2020. There is no hydrogen market. Like, okay, let's say they produced hydrogen. For who they are gonna sell? No customer. Let's say they found the customer. Okay, how they're gonna transport as a liquid? Too expensive. No, there's no pipeline, or as an ammonia, and also they don't have the ammonia, like the infrastructure to convert it to ammonia. One more challenge: the electricity price, because the most Turkey they are depend on the electricity price depend on natural gas price, and as we know for the last 3 years the natural gas price was really changed every day, not stayed stable. So these reasons gonna affect the hydrogen production.
Thank you so much, Mohammed. Mr. Nitin, do you have anything else to add upon that? On how can industries and governments collaborate to reduce the cost to build necessary infrastructure, sir?
Yeah, I would like to add to this. See, we have one example in the name of China. Be it any manufacturing sector, any product manufacturing, they have a skill. They are quite successful all across the world. What is the reason behind that? The same reason or same policy strategy should be implemented for hydrogen, particularly financial support and policy incentives. Chinese government is very focused on formulating policies for the local industry to manufacture and export. There is the best financial support system over there for the small or medium or large corporates, which we are not seeing anywhere outside China. So it is basically a public-private partnership. Government and private enterprises are into partnership. Government is playing their role, industry is playing their role. Government is doing infrastructure development, whatever it takes to make China a global manufacturing hub for electrolyzers or components or anything related to hydrogen economy, they are doing it. Even technology and innovation support, without that, China could not have reached to where they are now. So same applies to other countries also, the markets also. We have to do everything that is necessary from policy formation to PPP, public-private partnership, demand creation, market models, technology, funding, even international collaboration. Chinese are forming collaborations with that Belt and Road Initiative. How they can support the local manufacturers? Ultimately, it is they are supporting the hydrogen economy, and that is the reason. Now, if you consider the electrolyzer prices per kilowatt, it is around $2,000 to $2,200 in Europe and US. I'm talking about the complete the plant cost, including the BOP. Where in China, they are currently quoting very aggressively. It is around $500 to $700. So, and it is not that they are just quoting it; they are installing, they are supplying the equipment. So it shows that they are successful with this kind of strategy. They are working on all the factors that affect, that support the business or technology development or economy, hydrogen economy development. That's what I feel.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nitin. I mean, I understand that China is a manufacturing hub, and currently, if we can see that it is the low cost of hydrogen produced over there, and wherein we can even see a good potential in India as well for that, because we can become a manufacturing hub of electrolyzers and produce components due to the geopolitical advantages that we have, and it's kind of possible. And the components are the most important thing. So, Mr. Mohammed, I have a question for you, and it's related to the ISO standards and environmental systems. So, like, how can global policy frameworks and ISO compliant practices like the ISO 50001 support faster, more unified hydrogen deployment worldwide, sir?
Actually, this is a nice question, and this question is aligned with the previous question that you asked me. Firstly, clear, like we should have the hydrogen sector should be regulated globally and locally. As you said before, like locally, we should have a clear framework and vision and the incentive how gonna be applied, how we can connect all parts, the market, the customer, the producers, and the one, or like let's say the organization or the part who gonna transport that locally. For globally, we should have some certificates, some strategies, some streamline. So, in my experience in energy management, I can confidently say that international allied standards such as ISO 50001 are fundamental for building credible, scalable, and efficient global hydrogen economy. Hydrogen standard is really touch the power generation, manufacturing, and transport, even the residential application. In the context, international organized standard, sorry, bring consistency, safety, and quality assurance cross borders. This is crucial because hydrogen infrastructure like pipeline refueling stations, electrolyzers, and storage system must operate safely and compatibility. And these gonna be shared, not locally. Some of these pipelines gonna be crossing borders, so these should be controlled, well controlled even. Let's talk about deeply about ISO 50005, which provide a framework for energy management system when adopted by hydrogen producers that utilizes the utility and industry. It helped to optimize energy use and minimize the loss and improve the energy efficiency hydrogen production and the use. Without alignment that we are risk a framework global market, we are where manufacturer and developers must must design producer for each country, so it's gonna be hard, slowing the deployment and increasing the cost. So let's talk about the song. And we have a team. They should all of these teams have his part. All of them they should go in one way to have a perfect song in the end. But if everyone go in his own way, we're not gonna have a song. We're gonna have a messy. So common standards reduce this efficiency, enabling faster scaling and interoperability across supply chain. We have already seen that in renewable energy sector. The wide adoption of IEC standards for PV and wind turbines helped the global to be more scalable deployment. We can expect a similar trajectory for hydrogen if a standard like ISO, as we mentioned, 50,005, 50,001, and TC197 hydrogen technology are widely implemented and updated to reflect emerging needs. And I believe we are gonna have more and more certifications and more standards gonna be applied because hydrogen became a cornerstone in energy sector. All companies, all countries, they are adopting hydrogen. So it's gonna be widely used more the wind and solar. So I think it's gonna be more controlled. And actually, we learned a lot from our what we did in the past with PV and wind. So like we are learned already how it's gonna be, how the market gonna be. In short, like globally aligned and policies are the invisible architecture of the hydrogen transition. They de-risk innovation, support scale, and ensure that hydrogen technologies can move from pilot projects to global deployment with high targets, high installation, high deployment with confidence and speed to meet our visions. The first one 2030 and the second one 2050, which we are talking for one of them short term and the other long term. But we cannot reach the long one without reaching the short one.
Uh, Thank you so much, Mohammed. So, Mr. Nitin, do you have anything to add on that, please?
No, that's all.
All right, all right. So, coming out to the last question of the webinar today. So, Mr. Nitin, I'll start off with you. So, as we move forward to 2030, that what milestone or breakthrough do you think will define whether a country wins or lags in the global hydrogen economy?
Sorry, can you repeat your question?
Yes. So as we're moving towards 2030, so what is that one milestone or breakthrough do you think will define whether a country wins or lags in the global hydrogen economy, sir?
I think it is a government policy, government focus, how it sees the opportunity of hydrogen economy, whether it is proactive or just playing as a subordinate. If a government has a vision like China has, or India, Europe, and America are doing now, then there is a good chance of that industry will follow, industry will succeed. So government focus, government goals, government's initiative is the most critical factor in this. Until we have a technology which is efficient and which can help us reduce the cost of hydrogen to $1 to $1.5 per kg. If that happens, the government has nothing to, no role to play. The industry will take it up because it will, if becomes cheaper than your conventional fossil fuel, industry, you will not have to push industry to go for it. But until we achieve that, until the cost of hydrogen is below $2 per kg, it is the government that is the one most important factor. Government's initiative, policy framing, and all that will define whether a country will succeed or not. This is my take.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nitin. I completely agree with you, as the government plays a very major role in this part. So, Mr. Mohammed, what's your take on that, please, sir?
I don't have any comment for
Okay.
that.
So, I just wanted to mention that the government focus is really important. So, even I have been reading a lot about electrolyzers and how its cost is coming up. So, I think that the government should really focus mainly on the components as well, and
تدخلت
introduce in on the
ها؟
manufacturing of these electrolyzers as well in India by providing subsidies not only to the big players, but we even require small and medium entrepreneurs as well who come into play, and they can actually provide electrolyzers, indigenous electrolyzers as well for us. And for me, I think that the government should really put out support in the MSME segment as well. So that's my take on that. If anyone wants to add on.
سكر عندي اه احسن شو طلع فداء
Mr. Krish, I'm sorry I didn't hear you. Could you repeat your question?
Sorry?
Actually, there's some guests. They were opening their speakers, so I have a lag in the sound.
Absolutely. No worries, no worries. That's completely fine. I was just mentioning the importance of subsidies and incentives which have to be provided to the electrolyzer industry as well. So we know that there are a lot of different technologies present, but there is still hope for green hydrogen somewhere in the future and the electrolyzer. So there should definitely be subsidies and incentives on the components as well, so that localized manufacturing can even come into play, and big focus on the MSME segment as well, wherein small
Yes,
medium entrepreneurs are even getting into play and they can get an opportunity, and wherein not only the big players present. So that's even important because like young entrepreneurs like us, we can come out with new ideas, we can come out with new kind of technology, and the R&D is important, but we require that government support because it's a very expensive process. We
totally
are
agree to you.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. If there's anything else, so Mr. Mohammed, do you want to add anything else?
No.
All right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I have something to add, like about regarding the hydrogen storage and How does hydrogen storage compare to the battery storage in terms of efficiency and use cases? Like, let's say hydrogen is less efficient than batteries for round trip electricity storage. Around, we are talking 35% versus 85% for the batteries. But it excels in long duration and seasonal storage, as I mentioned before. Batteries are short, are ideal for the short-term grid balancing, either for normal grid or microgrid or smart grid, while hydrogen is suited for weeks or months for storage. And especially, it's important for microgrid. It's a cornerstone for smart grid and microgrid. And when coupled with renewables, it also be better for industrial heat and heavy duty transport, where batteries are less practical, like shipping or aviation sector. They need the hydrogen, while the batteries cannot handle that. That's what I have to add. Thank you.
I completely agree with you, and that is something like even I think Boeing is even trying to do like hydrogen based airplanes as well. So batteries are definitely they're very heavy and it requires a lot of time for filling as well. So yeah, that's my take here. So, thank you so much, Mr. Nitin and Mr. Mohammed, for having this webinar. And I hope that everyone please stays connected with us on LinkedIn, and you can follow us on Execo. We're definitely going to be having more webinars on this green hydrogen topic, as we know that this topic is really important, and it is important for us to educate the audience with this kind of market. And we can definitely have young entrepreneurs building up new confidence and helping the market grow.
Actually, Krish, it's really important to increase the global awareness for hydrogen. Like, as an engineer, like I have entered for different places. Let's say last month, and I'm talking about hydrogen. The people they are saying, I'm not talking about the energy sector or the engineers. Like maybe not all the engineers they are knowing what's hydrogen mean. Maybe the electrical engineers and the energy system engineers they know without not like with brief background, like weak background. Let's go to the normal people or to the like other sectors, design, civil engineer, doctors from the other sectors. They don't know what's hydrogen. While the hydrogen is a really cornerstone in our life and for our vision, like the energy security, it's really important and it's affecting all other sectors and affecting our world. Like I would like to say then that the world and the humanity are placing their hopes on hydrogen as a unique solution that could be lifeline for the world, because we have a problem that the earth is suffering and we already became 8 billion and maybe more now. So there's no enough energy security, energy resources. Like it should be global, like increase the global awareness regarding energy consuming at all, and then clean energy resources and how we can utilize that. It should be like they should have the know-how and the knowledge how to save energy. That's it.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mohammed.
You're
Hydrogen is
welcome.
an endless topic. I mean, I think we can end the meeting now. Thank you so much. We can definitely keep this conversation going, sir. Thank you so much, Mr. Nitin. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Mr. Mohammed. Have a nice evening. Thank you.
You too.
Okay,
Goodbye.
thank you.
Goodbye.
Krish.
Sorry?
Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Nitin. Thank you. Thank you.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Okay, goodbye, Mr. Mohammed.
Goodbye. Goodbye, Mr. Nathan. Nice to meet you.